Let's look at problem 5.34. Identify each of the following reactions as precipitation, neutralization, or redox. So let's review the criteria for this in reverse order. So for us, we will be able to identify a redox reaction because there will always be an element either as a reactant and or an element that is produced. So if we look at our four choices here, we see only one of our um, balanced chemical equations has elements, and that is A. We're reacting magnesium with hydrochloric acid to form magnesium chloride and hydrogen. So in this case, an element is produced and an element reacts, so we know that it is redox. And you can identify an element because it has one capital letter, and that will distinguish it from a compound. So magnesium, capital M, lowercase g, an element, and hydrogen, capital H, element. Neutralization reactions for us will always involve the reaction of a strong aqueous acid with a strong aqueous base. So I recommend you have a list of the strong acids and strong bases in your notes that you can easily access because there's only a handful of each, and only when they react with each other will it be considered a neutralization reaction. So if we look at B, we see a strong base, potassium hydroxide, reacting with a strong acid, nitric acid. So yes, B is neutralization. And notice that it forms water in the liquid phase as well as an ionic compound where the cation comes from the base and the anion comes from the acid. The next example, or the next choice, C, does have a strong acid, but it's not reacting with a strong base, so it's not neutralization. Whereas our last choice, D, has a strong base, calcium hydroxide, reacting with a strong acid, hydrochloric acid, and again, we form water in the liquid state with an ionic compound where the cation comes from the base and the anion comes from the acid. So B and D are both neutralization reactions. Precipitation reactions occur when two aqueous compounds, they're usually two ionic, but sometimes you can have a strong acid that reacts. And two products form, one of which is a solid, and that's known as the precipitate. So if we look here, our only remaining choice that we haven't assigned is C. We have lead 2 nitrate aqueous reacting with hydrobromic acid aqueous to form lead 2 bromide solid and nitric acid. So because we formed a solid here from two aqueous reactants, this is identified as a precipitation reaction.